The winner of 5 2015 Tony Awards, including Best Musical, Fun Home is based on Alison Bechdel's best-selling memoir of the same name. This groundbreaking production introduces us to the character of Alison and herself at 3 different ages, revealing memories of her uniquely dysfunctional family that connect her in surprising new ways. And here to perform with us today, please welcome all 3 Alisons, Gabriella Pizzolo, Emily Skeggs, and Beth Malone.
Hi, Google. It's good to be here today. So I'm going to sing a song from the show called Changing My Major. It's the moment in the show where the college-age Alison has woken up and she has just slept with a woman for the first time. What happened last night? Are you really here? Joan, 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 Joan. Hi, Joan. Don't wake up, Joan. Oh my God, last night. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, last night. I got so excited, I was too enthusiastic. Thank you for not laughing. Well, you laughed a little bit at one point when I was touching you and said I might lose consciousness, which you said was adorable. And I just have to trust that you don't think I'm an idiot or some kind of an animal. I never lost control due to overwhelming lust. But I must say that I'm changing my major to Joan. I'm changing my major to sex with Joan. I'm changing my major to sex with Joan, with a minor in kissing Joan. Foreign study to Joan's inner thighs. A seminar on Joan's ass in her Levi's. And Joan's crazy brown eyes. Joan, I feel like Hercules. Oh God, that sounds ridiculous. Just keep on sleeping through this and I'll work on calming down. So by the time you've woken up, I'll be cool, I'll be collected, and I'll have found some dignity. But who needs dignity? Cause this is so much better. I'm radiating happiness. Will you stay here with me for the rest of the semester? We won't need any food. We'll live on sex alone. Sex with Joan. I am writing a thesis on Joan. It's a cutting-edge field and my mind is blown. I would gladly stay up every night to hone my compulsory skills with Joan. I will study my way down her spine, familiarize myself with her well-made outline, while she researches mine. I don't know who I am. I've become someone new. Nothing I just did is anything I would do. Overnight, everything changed. I am not prepared. I'm dizzy, I'm nauseous, I'm shaky. I'm scared. Am I falling into nothingness or flying into something so sublime? I don't know, but I'm changing my major to Joan. I thought all my life I'd be all alone, but that was before I was lying prone in this dorm room bed with Joan. Look, she drooled on the pillow, so sweet, all sweaty and tangled up in my bedsheet. And my heart feels complete. Let's never leave this room. How about we stay here till finals? I'll go to school forever. I'll take out a dementedly huge high-interest loan. 'Cause I'm changing my major to Joan.
There's a moment in Fun Home when Allison and her dad are in a diner, and Allison's dad says, "Go find the waitress." And on Allison's way to find the waitress, she sees a woman who she identifies with. Someone just came in the door, like no one I ever saw before. I feel I don't know where you came from. I wish I did. I feel so dumb. I feel your swagger and your bearing and the just right clothes you're wearing, your short hair and your dungarees and your lace-up boots and your keys. Oh, your ring of keys. I thought it was supposed to be wrong, but you seem okay with being strong. I want. You're so. It's probably conceited to say, but I think we're alike in a certain way. Your swagger and your bearing and the just right clothes you're wearing, your short hair and your dungarees and your lace-up boots and your keys. Oh, your ring of keys. Do you feel my heart saying hi in this whole luncheonette? Why am I the only one who sees you're beautiful? No, I mean handsome. Your swagger and your bearing and the just right clothes you're wearing, your short hair and your dungarees and your lace-up boots and your keys. Oh, your ring of keys. I know you. I know you. I know you.
Hi, I am them grown up, older, and I'm writing a book about those moments in my life now. And so as I investigate my past, the memories sort of become all-encompassing. And this song takes place in a car with my father when I'm Emily's age, but I've remembered it so fully, and it is sort of like put me in the present in the car with my dad at this age. Telephone wire, run and run. Telephone wire, sundown on the creek. Partly frozen, partly flowing. Must be windy, trees are bending. Junction 50, field needs mowing. Feels like the car is floating. Say something, talk to him. Say something, anything. At the light, at the light, at the light, at the light. At the light, at the light, at the light, at the light. Like you could say, so how does it feel to know that you and I are both telephone wire, long black line, telephone wire, finely threaded sky. There's the pond where I went wading. There's a sign for Sugar Valley. On the mountain, light is fading. I go back to school tomorrow. Say something, talk to him. Say prepared to wear boys' shirts and pants. I felt absurd in a dress. I really tried to deny my feelings for girls, but I was like you, Dad, me too. Telephone wire, stop too fast. Telephone wire, make this not the past. This car ride, this is where it has to happen. There must be some other chances. There's a moment I'm forgetting where you tell me you see me. Say something, talk to me. Say something, anything. At the light, at the light. This can't be our last. Telephone wire. That was our last night. Daddy, comma. Hey, Daddy, come here, okay? Question mark. I need
Daddy,
you.
come here, okay? I need you.
At the light, at the light, at the light, at the light.
What are you doing, comma? I said come here. You
What are you
need
doing? I
to
said
do
come
what
here.
I
You
tell
need to do what I tell you to do. Listen to me. Daddy, come here. Hey, right here, right now. You're making me mad. Listen to
How
me.
does it
Listen
feel
to
to
me.
know?
Listen to me. I wanna play airplane.
That you and
I wanna play airplane.
That you
I
and
wanna
Put my arms out and fly.
No, wait! Like Superman.
Up in the sky.
Say something.
I can see all of Pennsylvania.
Say something.
Put your feet here like this, Daddy, do what I say.
There you are, Dad.
Take my hands, give me yours, bend your knees, not that way. When I say go, you start pushing me up. Okay. Don't let go yet. Okay, higher. Just a little.
And I'm flying away.
Look at me fly
In my standing cape. Our house is over there, and there's our car. The fun home, I see it. I'm up so far. Daddy, there's your school, and there's Grandma's house. There's Uncle Pete's farm. I can see all of Pennsylvania. I can see all of Pennsylvania. The best game up in the air.
A picture of my father.
And I don't even care that it pushes my stomach in.
Made of little marbles.
Up so high, fly up so high, fly up so high. I can see all of Pennsylvania.
Caption. Every so often there was a rare moment of perfect balance when I soared above him,
Keep it going. 5 2015 Tony wins, including Best Musical Score and Best Book, and of course Best Musical. And so it was adapted from Alison Bechdel's graphic novel, which in real life, the story is about the character of Alison, which the three of them play over various times. Recreating basically, it's essentially a graphic novel autobiography, right? More or less?
Yeah. I mean, it's a memoir, you know. So I think it's maybe a subtle distinction, but I think as opposed to an autobiography, which is about telling the story of things that happened, I think in a memoir, or there's something essayistic about Alison's work, and I think she's interrogating questions about who her father was, about her relationship with her father, and about memory. And the relationship of memory to what actually happened.
So how did you even come across the graphic novel?
Doesn't that sound like a fun musical?
It does. And it actually is funny. We'll get to that.
Very funny.
But how did you find the graphic novel? What light bulb went off saying, oh, this needs to be on Broadway?
Well, the words tragicomic graphic novel memoir, doesn't that?
I mean, come on, people, come on.
Musical comedy,
It's
bam,
obvious.
bam, bam. Well, Lisa sent it to me, and I don't know if any of you have read that book. I had not, I'm embarrassed to say. And as soon as I read it, I thought, oh my God, that's going to be a fantastic musical. It really sings. Getting there is going to be hellish, and it was, because the book is so beautiful, and you have to, at one point, I think when you're adapting something, you have to, what my friend calls, there has to be a lot of spit on the page, when you actually spit at the very thing that you love and make it your own. You have to render that person invisible, like actors render us invisible when though we're very visible, they render us invisible when they're on stage. It's as if it wasn't ever written, it just always was, and that was the trick with that book, The Pressure.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, so you found the book and you read it, but what was the point when you said, I want to turn this into a Broadway show? A Broadway, or how did it make it to...
I never thought this show would be on Broadway. I mean, let's be real. No, I've been doing this since I was 19. I was at Columbia, and then I played in the Pit. I've seen what goes to Broadway, so it was not this show. Oh, but I thought you just fell over. I was like, oh my God. I meant it was always meant for... No, I just think that Broadway has cracked open in a way that...
Sorry, I'm upstaging because that's what I do.
Well, Beth, what are your thoughts on that?
You know, basically, when I first received the script from my agent, I was like, this is going straight to Broadway, and it's going to get me my Tony nomination, finally. And that's exactly what happened.
And that's all the time we've got. Thank you, guys.
Yes, bye-bye. Thank you. I have nothing more to add.
Well, so what were the challenges on getting it from your concept onto the stage?
Look at us. I mean, the challenges. You guys take the one.
What are the challenges?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so who's read the book? Anybody? Yeah, it's
like,
you got to read it. Yeah, you should read it, first of all. But first of all, it's really dense, and it's really literate, and it does a whole bunch of things because she can. Like each chapter focuses on a different literary character, and it all, she does all kinds of like literary masturbatory things. I mean, fun, but awesome things because she's such a genius. She's like, I'm going to make this chapter this, and I'm going to do all these things, and you're going to need a thesaurus to read this book. Well, that kind of stuff doesn't translate into scene work. Like a lot of the scenes, all of the scenes that you see don't exist in the book. So they had to be created completely out of the situations and the need of the people in the moment, and to try and figure out like what happens on a day when this is what the scene is about and no one's talking about what the scene is about. What do they talk about? So there are all kinds of crazy obstacles to getting to the version that we have now. It was insane.
Or a scene would be built around one small panel of the book.
Right.
One little line and one tiny drawing, an entire scene would be built.
My suggestion is to just like read the play and just take apart line by line just the tree planting scene. This is my favorite. I mean, I love the tree planting scene.
I'm not sure that would be interesting for them.
Well, for me, if anybody's interested in like how dialogue works to inform you on what, like look at the you could go, all the information you're receiving visually, you have to receive through conversation, like that seems natural and intention based. It's crazy what you have to do.
This is a sort of a nerdy theater conversation that's happening sort of between us, and I think the graphic novel is extremely literary. That being said, it is extremely accessible. It is, what Alison understands about the dynamic, engaging mechanisms of that form have made her an acknowledged master in that field. So it's a book that when people read it, it's the kind of book that then they give to everybody they know. Like they'll buy it for everybody in their family. It's an incredibly moving book. There is nothing about it that, about the way that it functions and the way that it draws the reader in, that operates in any way that's related to the way a drama operates. So we had to take it apart, and it's such a beautifully made masterpiece that it was very difficult to take it apart, because I would try to read it just to figure out what are the events in theatrical terms. And I would find myself 90 pages in, again, like pulled into the story. It was really difficult to stay, to resist the beguilement of that book enough to even see what it was made of, to see its constituent parts, so that we could then make them again in this different way. It was incredibly laborious. It did not, usually if you can figure out sort of what the mechanism of a piece is, it's very difficult to figure it out. I always think it's kind of like throwing a pot. If you have to, as I understand it, not that I'm a potter, but you have to center the clay exactly on the wheel, and if you do, then you can pull it up and make any shape. But if you're not exactly on center as you pull it up, it's just going to go wonky and fall apart. And that's what making plays is like a little bit, but plays are much more forgiving. But
So
a musical,
this is your first musical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and Lisa won the Tony on her first one out. I have to say, I had to write 6 musicals to get that award, but yeah.
Obviously, we're meant to work together.
It's so true. We actually met writing this musical.
Yeah.
And now we're together. No, I'm
Now
just
we're
kidding.
together. Exactly.
I don't know, it's that clock. It makes me feel pressure to say things that aren't true.
That's more for me.
What does that clock mean?
That's my cue to know like when to wrap it up.
Oh, okay.
So I know people have to get on with their day jobs. But we could sit here forever. We'll just have a private conversation. They can all do
Okay,
their thing.
good. I
But-
keep waiting for the temperature.
Oh, we can put time. Okay, Google, what's the temperature?
Super cool. Super cool.
Janine, you're actually the most prolific and honored female theatrical composer in history.
I mean, yeah, okay.
But can we just remove the word female from that and just talk about like how many musicals she's written, and one of the most prolific composers in Broadway history, okay? First of all, thanks.
And mic drop. So what was it personally for you that made you want to work on the show? You've done so much. Your career is so vast. That what was it about this?
I grew up in the 70s, and I'm very, tall, grande, venti, and that to me is me. Not as nice shoes, but we grew up at the same time as Alison, and I remember in the 70s and thinking through, Tiger Beat and all of that stuff that no one here will know about. Which is so frustrating. But I remember being Gabby's age and looking at my parents, who were interesting people, and there's a whole inner life, I think, that gets stored versus the outer life. And that's where a lot of musicals, I think, live. When you look at a lot of things, when people, I hate the adage, when you can't speak anymore, you sing. It's like, I don't know what that means. What I do know is that we all have these inner lives, and when you think about your relationship to your parents right now, and what it was, and then what it was, and what it is, and what it will be. There are all these songs, and a lot of that genetic material is musical genetic material. We are themes and variations of each other. There's no way not to be. And so what we tried to do, and musically, when you look at classical music, does it all the time. You take something a statement, and then you rework it and you rework it. I mean, that metaphor of throwing the pot is exactly right. And you think of all of the shapes. Bach did it, Mozart did it beautifully, all of them. And then at the very end, why they call it the tonic, is you come home. You come home again. And that's what musical long form is based on. So this show absolutely fell into the path of coming home to yourself and being changed by it, the way that the Odyssey works and so much of literature. And it's such a smart structure, this one. So I was desperate to do it, and I felt the pressure for it to be really as great as the book.
As literary as the book is, I think what both of us sensed, I mean, what I have learned, and Janine already knew this, and we had a little conversation with George Wolfe early on, and he articulated this in a way that was extremely helpful to me and I think to us. He said, you know, a musical can be as complex as you want it to be, but there has to be one primal desire that starts the engine and drives through every single moment of the musical. And I think what we sensed was in the book, and what we put into the musical is that there's a primal desire. It's the first lines of the musical. Gabby comes out and sings, and she sings it in the finale, as you heard, and Beth is writing it, Daddy, hey Daddy, come here, I need you. The primal desire of a child to make a physical connection with her father, in this case a father who is very withholding. And that desire, which everyone has a relationship to, no matter who your parent is. If you didn't know your parent, you know that desire to have, it's a primal need. And it's in the book. It's what makes people feel the way they do about the book. And it's a perfect core for a musical.
So I'm going to shift gears for a little bit over to Gabby here. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. So you came from Matilda. You were Matilda before this, right? So some of you may have seen her as Matilda. Yes. Yeah, wonderful job. So obviously that show is a completely different theme from this. So for you personally, what attracted you to want to play Allison in the show? Small Allison. Tall Allison.
It was just such beautiful writing and music, and I could just imagine it like going on when I heard it, and I absolutely loved it. And I was like, I need to like invest more in this. I need to see what it's about. I just have to go and see the show. I just felt very connected to it as soon as I heard it. Like it touched my heart.
Huh. So there was also, I think one of my favorite numbers is what you do with Cole Gray and Zell Stell. Is that how I say his name, right? Zell, yeah. Zell Stell Morrow. So you have two brothers in the show.
Yeah.
And there's this amazing dance number.
Oh
If you
my
guys have
gosh.
not seen it, like go see it. I mean, the show itself is great, but God, these three kids on stage blew my mind. Is that your favorite part
Oh
of
my
the show?
gosh.
When like it's a showstopper, I probably say every night, right?
I mean, there are a lot of showstoppers, but that one. But that one especially is very fun to get to do.
Do you look forward to that every night?
Yeah, yeah. I love getting to do it with Zell and Cole. They're great.
Yeah, it seems like you guys have fun together.
Yeah, we do. Fun at the fun home.
Yes, at the fun home, which is actual funeral home for those of you who don't know. Emily, you were one of the original members of the show, right?
I joined the show off Broadway.
Yes, so one of the original Broadways. And then you took a hiatus to go film some TV stuff, right?
Did.
So what have you been working on?
I filmed a little guest role on this show called Salem, about the Salem witch trials, but the witches are really witches. And then a complete turn. I filmed a mini series called When We Rise. It's going to be on ABC. If you saw the movie Milk, it follows three political activists who were kind of in his periphery from '72 to 2009. So they're sort of calling it the gay roots.
Right. So it also has the LGBT kind of theme going through it. So what about that attracted you to that role? Did it have anything to do with, of course, your Tony-nominated performance in Fun Home?
It's kind of crazy because both in Fun Home and in the miniseries, I play a real-life person who, I could speak with and get to know and study their lives and study how they got from one point to the other. And that's just been kind of mind-blowing. I mean, to be able to map out the arc of a life and the main events in someone's life and what brought someone from here to here and the desire that made them fight for something versus something else is, I mean, I think I'm still so much inside of it, so I don't quite understand the significance of it, if you know what I mean. Like, these people are really alive, and now we are taking their lives and showing it to other people who are really alive. It's very, I get very emotional when I think about it.
Would you say it's a stoner thought? Yeah. Wow, so we're like alive, and we show things to other people who are also,
But it's exciting to honor people's lives in that way.
I said to Alison one time, I said, Alison, what is it like when you go to other musicals? Are you like, there's something wrong with this music? Oh, it's not about me. Really, I don't know, I just didn't relate to it.
I have so many questions, but if any of you guys in the audience have questions, there's mics here, so start lining up, and we can go to you guys anytime. I want to skip over some things because there's so much to talk about. So the format of the show itself is in the round, which, for those who don't know, the audience is sitting 360 degrees around the stage, and that's very, very unusual for Broadway. And this is now the third staging of the show. The previous two not in the round. Like, how did it get to where it is? And why does it work? Why did you choose this version? Anybody?
Yeah, Sam,
Sam, the director.
we did it a thrust stage and then proscenium at the Public. Part of it is Sam loves working in the round. Musicals are almost never in the round because of the way that sound design is. You know, you just think that you have to look at someone often to be able to, like at a concert, to watch someone play, you listen to it very differently. And when the image is removed from the sound, it's much harder. But the sound design by Kai Harada and the technology, we're at Google, so you know, is so amazing. You can throw this imagery onto the stage, and even if that person isn't there, it's like they're there. And that's a whole new age for us at musicals, because you can do it very, very differently than the traditional proscenium arch, which requires that there is focus, and you can do it really differently. It's also a memory play, so this fits beautifully inside that idea that memory can come and get you at any point. It's getting me right now. So the people who are in power are not the actors, it's the audience who's in power.
Yeah, it was interesting to me because halfway through I realized that I felt like I was literally inside the mind of the storyteller. Like, it is Broadway size, obviously. It's a on-Broadway show, but it feels very intimate, and the stage itself, there's the living room of the house, and then there's times when the whole furniture just shifts, so we see different sides of it. And I feel like it worked so incredibly well to convey. I was reading, I won't take credit for this terminology, but the swirling of the memories going on, and the recollection of the character of Alison, because the whole thing is a flashback. So there's no question there.
But it doesn't necessarily behave in the way that your memory play that you're used to seeing behaves. So it sort of loves to make you think you know how it works and then switch the rules on you, which is kind of the thing about memories is sometimes you're like, oh yeah, that, and sometimes you're like, what? Oh, yeah, oh, wow, that. You know, so the memories don't come at you and behave the same way from memory to memory or moment to moment in this play, you know. So it's helpful, you know. And also, it's cranium shaped. Like, ultimately, they're circular. It's a little. It's like the inside of your like you went on the amazing journey into the. You know what I mean?
I love that Raquel Welch. Yeah.
Oh, we're on a red blood cell.
Yeah. We are so old because no one knows what we're talking about.
I love that movie. The Inner Space. Is that what we're talking about?
Well,
Fantastic Journey with Raquel Welch, where they go in.
Fantastic Voyage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my God, you have to see it. And then they get attacked by a white blood cell. She wears a jumpsuit. It's so amazing.
All right. Question over here?
Yeah, I was wondering, Alison Bechdel, did she participate in the writing process, or did she just hand you her baby? And did she like the end result? Or?
She handed us her baby, and she made herself available. She gave us her journals that she wrote. Me and Janine, she gave us her journals that she wrote while she was writing Fun Home. she was available to answer questions, which came up in the writing. But then she really trusted us, and it was indeed like handing us her baby. And I think unequivocally feels very positive about the show, and I think very connected to the show. And on the night, I think we opened at the public, or maybe it was around that time, and she said, I don't know what to do. She expresses her gratitude a lot. And she said, I feel like I should give you my firstborn. And then there was a sort of pause, and we looked at each other, and we were like, well, you did already.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah, question?
First of all, thank you so much. The performance was amazing. Really appreciate it. So this is a question primarily for the three Alisons. This is obviously a very deeply personal story. I mean, I haven't read the book or seen the whole show, and just those three songs were giving me the feels back here.
All the feels.
All the feels, all at the same time. But my question is for you guys, as somebody who's interpreting this deeply personal experience and then projecting it for other people, how do you tap into that? How do you personally approach making that accessible to people like me, this like lump sitting in the back of the room?
I think there's a lot about the story that's really specific, but at the end of the day, it's a story about a girl and her relationship with her father and her relationship with her sexuality. And I think it's pretty safe to say that we all have fathers in some way, shape, or form, and we all have some kind of desire for other people. And so I think that just keeping that in mind, and it's about empathy, it's about finding the connection with these people, these real life people that, Alison has a struggle with her father, but they both have the same struggle. Another stoner thought for you.
I love it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Well, for me, it's about connection.
Yes.
They have the same struggle, but they don't know how to talk about it.
There's a lot about being in the show that lends itself to the actual material that is I don't want to do that. I don't want to go. I don't want to watch this scene. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to have to watch him leave these kids in New York apartment while he goes off. I don't want to watch this. And that actually is helpful. There's a lot about being in the show and you have to you must give yourself over to it. To be in the show, there are things that you're going to not want to have to do, but that's exactly the journey. It's that's the exact journey of Alison going, whoa, I wanted to make this piece of art, but I didn't know it was going to do this. I didn't know it was going to take me here and there, and that's the same as kind of being in it sometimes. It's wow, I really wanted this. I really wanted to make this art. Ugh. It's awful, but it's wonderful, So there's a lot of at that moment-to-moment thing when the show starts, and you just kind of walk through that door, and it just kind of sucks you in, and the moment-to-moment work of the composers and lyricists, the book writer, have given us sort of a template where we just have to step out on stage, and it takes you right down the road.
Yeah, the material is like a pull of honesty.
Yeah. It's there's no fat left in this script. I did an interview yesterday, somebody's well, this version of the character, I'm there's just no character left. It's just intention. That's all that's left. It's it's just an elegant, streamlined person voraciously searching for something a minute at a time. So that's all it is.
I think what we're trying to do, what theater makers try to do, is to make something that will do what you just described, is to give an audience, to evoke feeling from an audience. And it costs us something sometimes to do it, but the thing is made out of craft. And so what you feel and what we have made are actually not the same thing. We make this sort of vessel of craft that then takes you someplace. I think it often and it should feel. You shouldn't think about that. You should never think about that. We also want to make something that is lean in the way Beth's talking about, so that you never, the goal is for you to get picked up and carried somewhere and never be thinking about that craft. But I think what it seems like is that what you feel is identical to what we're doing. And it's actually
Although I have to
two
say,
different
like,
things.
what you bring to this room is what Fun Home does to you. Like,
Right.
you sit in that seat and you brought whatever relationships you have in your life to this viewing today, and that's the thing you're feeling. Like, that's what you're feeling,
Right.
and that's what we do. We do the same thing every day, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, the show was about suicide. Oh my God, the show was about mental illness. The show was about being gay and coming out." It was like, it's about whatever it's about. You know, that you bring so much of it, because there's so much empty space in the show. There's a lot of like room for you to fill in your own narrative and your own experience in Fun Home. I think it's not like super busy and like rattling your mind with you know, every measure filled with you know, cram packed with words and beats. It's like there's emptiness for you to show up.
Right. You're actually running short on time, so do one more question here. Yeah.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Joe. I went to school for music, and something about the music that really struck me was that it seemed to combine so many different influences, classical, modern music, and it wasn't one of those musicals that takes a great artist and makes a musical out of, you know, their past work. It really invents new music, and I was wondering if you could talk about your sources for that, and if you could talk about how you approached writing for three different people, three different parts of their life, and if the music matured in any ways that you found.
Such a great question. You should probably be composing. Well, I have so much recall. I remember reading Judy Blume when I was at that age. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret, and thinking, God, is this written by an 11-year-old? I mean, she was so, and she said that she has this recall. And I have that. I have a kind of mind that is complicated. There's a bar mitzvah always going on. But I remember I'm not Jewish, and I'm straight, and it's a problem on both sides. Yeah, I know. So I have so much, my training was so odd and wonderful that I was trained classically, and my piano teacher absolutely demanded, you know, it's interesting, we're talking about space, and that I had space to improvise and to do lead sheets and circle of fifths in everything, and to play TV themes and pop music. And I grew up speaking 4 or 5 languages. And sometimes, you know, people have about my work, they say it's pastiche or it's eclectic, which means you suck. In my word, that's what it means. Trust me. But for me, it's that idea that I love what Beth was just saying, that you are what you bring to all these things. And I find in Fun Home, I didn't find it, Lisa found it. And because I am all of these three, I should be so lucky to be these 3 people, but we are these nesting dolls, and I feel like a nesting doll musically. I love the Talking Heads, and I love Stravinsky, and I loved R. Kelly in the Closet, you know, and I mean, all of that, all of those things in the beat, and I was trained in Nashville, and I finally found this place where I could access so much of those things, trying to not apologize for being so many things, because I think a lot of women, I don't know about people in this room, were taught, and I think told, as I was, you are too much. And I said that to someone recently, and they said, you mean too much for them, for those people who are telling you that. And I thought, if I had known that 20 years ago.
So, Gabby, has your relationship with your parents changed since you've been in the show?
Your mother is here.
Yes. No, my parents have always both been very, very supportive of me and very, very helpful, and that has never changed all of my life.
Wow.
God, what does that feel like?
Good job, Mom. Good job. So, just last question here. Could be an upper or downer, I guess. What you bring to it what you will. What advice would any of you give to a child who suspects that one of their parents might be gay, or a parent who suspects one of their children might be gay?
Gabby, why don't you start?
Okay. I would say just understanding that people have a right to be who they want to be, you know?
All right.
Whoever they are.
Well, I guess that's it. All right. Well, everybody give them another round of applause. Thank you so much for coming in.